Hey, this is Dan Morales. This is Homebuyer Radio, episode number 155. And this is really an episode that should go without actually having to be recorded, but I'm going to record it anyways because some of you are going to do something that is going to hurt your ability to get a mortgage at some point in time here. So here's the thing. Don't stop paying your rent. Okay, I know that there's everybody that thinks, oh, I'm going to get free rent payments, or I'm just going to stop paying my rent and I'll work something out with my landlord or something else like that. Hey, let me tell you this, guys. Here's what's going to happen: is if you stop paying your rent, and if you go through the mortgage process and you end up having to provide evidence that you've paid your rent on time, you may have just shot yourself in the foot for a mortgage, okay? Us old-timers in the mortgage business are very familiar with a form that's called a VOR, which is a verification of rent form. Now, in the good old days, when somebody took out a mortgage, you had to get the VOR and provide proof that they paid their rent on time. The industry got away from that. Got away from verifying that somebody's made timely rent payments. And so what happened was, you don't know if somebody's made timely rent payments or not. Well, in today's world, I wouldn't be surprised if that form makes a resurgence and comes back, where a lender has to go through and verify that you've made your rent payments on time. Now, what happens if your landlord reports you late? And you're like, hey, I'm not late. I've made my rent payment on time. How could they say I'm late? Well, when you run into disputes where a landlord says, hey, they didn't pay their rent on time, then it comes down to you providing 12 months canceled checks to provide proof that you actually did pay your rent on time. So be able to verify you paid your rent on time, guys. I'm telling you, as much as things change, they stay the same in the world of mortgages, and it comes down to documentation. There's probably 20 episodes I've done that talk about help us to help you and cooperate with the loan process, have your documentation ready. It's the same thing all the time. I run into this all the time with folks where, I need a piece of documentation and they either don't give it to me or they give it to me kicking and screaming. I'm trying to help you get a mortgage. Have your house in order. Make sure you pay your rent. Have your financial documents in order. There are multiple reasons for that, but the biggest one is it just helps us to help you. But I'm telling you now, the other part to that is, what you're going to see happen, I think, in the world of mortgage lending is it's going to continue to come down to documentation and verification. If you cannot document that you have a reasonable ability to repay a mortgage, and you cannot document that reasonable ability is backed by a reasonable debt to income ratio, a reasonable credit score, a reasonable amount of cash reserves, and maybe we'll talk about that next week, is what are cash reserves and why do you have to have them? Because you're going to see more and more loans that are going to only be able to be made with cash reserves. And I'm going to talk about why you have to have those in many cases and why I think that's going to come back. I think the verification of rent form is going to come back, and I think that lenders are going to scrutinize your application much more detail than what they have in the past. And that's because a lender wants to make sure you have the ability to repay this loan and that they're not going to close your loan and get stuck with you defaulting or not making payments or asking for forbearance immediately or something like that. So just know that the rules are changing, and you better have your house in order, because if you don't, you're going to have a hard time getting your loan approved. But hey, let me tell you this. If you have a hard time getting your loan approved because you didn't have your house in order, that's on you. Right? Don't blame your lender for the fact that you didn't have your house in order, you didn't start this process sooner, that you didn't do those things that you should have done to put yourself in a better position. So often clients get upset or they get angry over things that I didn't do that to you. I didn't cause you to take out a new car payment for $1,000. I didn't cause you to make a late payment. I didn't cause you to incur a ton of student loan debt that you don't have enough income to support. Those are all decisions you made. So if you're going to be mad with somebody about that, you should be mad at yourself yourself because you're the person that put yourself in that position. My job is to try to help you navigate through those things and get you in a position where you have the best opportunity to be able to succeed and move forward. But if you're going to be upset over those things, ultimately you have yourself to blame for those things and not me as your mortgage loan officer. Hey, I'm Dan Morales, America's Mortgage Man. NMLS number is 709729. Phone number is 616-931-4629. And of course, North Point Bank is an equal housing lender. One last thing, you can find me online at danmorales.com. That's DANMORALEZ.com. Have a great day. See ya.